morning, this is Shelly from Hodgepodge Hoosiers. Today I am going to make fire starter, at least get my bucket full. I just have a bucket, actually it used to hold bags, but it's got a nice hole in the top so we can just grab a fire starter out of it. Now last year I made these little pucks and I've actually got one left and they work great, but my husband hasn't started cutting wood yet for the year. So I wanted to get some ready because it's starting to cool off and we're going to be starting our stove pretty soon. So we went foraging in the woods yesterday, found pine cones, and you want to get them off the ground so they're good and dry. And all I'm going to do is melt soy chips. Oh, I got this double boiler that I keep specifically for melting waxes. And it's very self-explanatory. You'll just dip it whenever, and you know, however much you put, you just want to put a light coating, kind of shake it off and let them dry, and you're going to have fire starters for the winter. I have trouble starting fires, so throwing one of these on top of some kindling is really going to help. And I know you can buy fire starters. There's people that my husband watches now that makes it and sells it, and that's great, but this here is free and accessible to us, so this is what we do. We heat with wood in the winter to supplement our furnace because we don't like the high electric bill. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to get my wax paper setting out and waiting for my water to boil on the stove to get this melted, and we'll get going making some fire starters. Okay, it's melted. It took like maybe 2 minutes to melt. I just use I had cut a jumbo paint stick in half because I needed it for a craft, so this became my wax stirrer. Now you do want to use soy wax. You want it to be a clean wax so there isn't a whole lot of creosote buildup in your stove and chimney. And soy is the cleanest, from what I can research, is the best to use. Get this out of there. And you don't have to do much, you just want it, you don't even have to be the whole thing. You just want some on there so it will coat it. And give you a burn to get that kindling started. Real easy. This would be a good project. Of course, you'd have to have you'd be the one doing the dipping, but have your kids go out with you and forage for pine cones. Get some outside. But this is a super cheap, effective way. I mean, soy costs a little bit to buy a big bag of it, but I've got a big bag of it I bought last year. I done all mine from last year, and this is just a little bit of that bag. So it's probably going to last me 4 or 5 years for one bag of soy. And that's going to start a lot of fires. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up these papers. I'll show you what they look like whenever they get good and cooled and how I store them up. Okay, I have my wax paper full. The first one I did, you can see it's already drying. Now these would probably light by themselves. They're good and dry, but the whole thing of putting wax on it is to give you a little time for that kindling to catch. And by the time the wax is done, melted off and gone, the kindling should have caught. So I'm going to let these continue to get hard. It's not going to take long. I can put them in the bucket. I've got a few more, and I've got just a little more wax, and it was starting to get cool, so I got it back on the stove. So yeah, this is going to be plenty to get me going for this season, and I've got at least this many more pine cones outside in a half bushel basket. And I can make more throughout the winter if I would need it. But right now, this is a lot of fires. So, and it's something that you can use, that you have, most people would have if they got any pine trees at all. they can go out and get them some pine cones and make their own fire starters. Okay, here is the rest of them. They're all getting pretty well dry. See the coating on it? And I didn't even do it all the way around. I was starting to get low. Like I said, you don't have to have these completely saturated. Just a little bit. You just want enough for the, that there's got a blob on it. I'll pop it off. You don't need that much. You just want enough to where it's going to catch that kindling. It's not supposed to sit there and just burn with the wax. Like I say, if they're real dry and you've got an overabundance of pine cones, you don't even really have to use wax. You could just light them and let them catch the kindling on their own. But yeah, this is how I like to do it. I have a hard time starting fires. So that's all I had left out of that batch. And I will probably throw that in a baggie and just put it in with my wax stash. And then the next time I do it, I'll have another little glob to add to it. But yeah, get this mess out of the way. This bucket, let me see if I can get you there. It's almost full. There's a lot of fire starter in there. It's a lot of starting fires for the winter. I may not even need any more. But if I do, I've got about this many more pine cones outside in my bucket. I don't want to keep them in the house. We just foraged them yesterday. I was scared maybe there'd be some little critters in them yet. So anyway, yeah, something super easy. Didn't cost hardly anything. That wasn't that much of my wax. I'll show you. This is a 2-gallon bag. So I've got that much more. And this is already my 2nd year of making fire starters. So if I don't use any of this year, because that would be enough, I possibly get 4 more years out of this bag of wax. So it's very cost effective than to try and just go buy some in the store or online. At least for us. Now I understand there's people that don't have access to pines and can't get pine cones, and that's fine. Do what works best for you. But right now we're all about penny pinching, and we love to forage for stuff, so it just made sense to do this. So this is Shelly from Hodgepodge Hoosiers. If you like this kind of content, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.